Is it an airline bailout or not? Definitely a bailout. Taxpayer subsidized bailout. $50 billion in what they named payroll support program. That is awesome. That's a very good name for a gigantic bunch of money we gave to airlines who, without any shame, a month after or maybe a month before, admitted that they basically, I'll just put it this way. CNN Business is reporting that the country's four largest airlines still have cash on their balance sheets in closing out 2020. American, Delta, United, and Southwest actually have a combined $31.5 billion in cash. In fact, up from $13 billion a year earlier in 2019. And basically, that would go against all the scare tactics they did, and accompanied by, yes, the unions, that basically said, if we don't get this money, we're going to have to forcibly, we're going to have to start firing people like crazy. And the thing is, they got cash and they got access to loans. They declined to take the loans and then got more grants from the government. And basically, what we basically were part of is they got to cut a ton of workforce, probably a bunch of people that they didn't really want anyways. When they said, we were going to have a bunch of people that voluntarily leave, and they did that, and probably was much cheaper than keeping them on and paying more into a pension plan or something of that nature. And they got to, and with this, which you would think is total mismanagement, but they didn't mismanage anything. They had, over $30 billion cash on hand. Is you would think that leadership would have to be changed, But no, leadership did exactly what they were supposed to pretty well. They were able to get the government to give them a bunch of money, and they were able to use their employees as pawns and use scare tactics and give these arbitrary dates and say, we don't have the money by April 1st. We're going to have to lay off like 10,000 people. Didn't have to do any of it. They had cash on hand. So while and again, these are airlines, a lot of times, and they do have other functions, but they fly people to go to, Mexico and Vegas often. That's what they do. It's not like an essential service like the post office, which got a $10 billion loan and then it was waived. So basically, in something that still has to work throughout the entire pandemic, people were still contracting, the employees were contracting coronavirus, some of them dying. And for some reason, that service was not essential to get financial assistance to the magnitude of the airlines, who had basically no one inside their airplanes. We didn't make them change or restructure anything. And basically, it was just a bunch of money. And it doesn't even sound like we even verified if they really actually needed that much money. They just kind of gave an arbitrary number and then the government just gave it to them. So while everyone else, the government was fighting to give people less money to actually survive, and they, begrudgingly gave, checks out, and they begrudgingly, gave the plus up on the unemployment for people that have long-term unemployment. And the stupid talking point of, it incentivizes people not to go to work in the middle of a pandemic. When they have a bunch of bills and everything's piling up, and they probably would much rather have a structure that they can go off of instead of waiting for, unemployment payments that were taking months to come through. There was never this argument for the airlines. And I think it made more sense of an argument to say, we incentivize the airlines not to make any structural changes, because they knew at the end of the day, just like the banks, were going to come and save them anyway. So there's no point in actually changing anything. Instead of doing a bunch of, PR accompanied by corporate media where they you know, do essentially commercials about how clean the airplanes are now. So it is just kind of jacked up, and it's not really being spoken about at all. Um, because this is just natural. This is just what we do apparently with when it comes to the airlines. There is no actual debate about, hey, should we be a bit more targeted when it comes to bailing out these big organizations that basically have no competition at all. They said four largest airlines. Those are the four airlines. Um, and yeah, there's just like nothing at all when it comes to, essentially welfare or support for people. You know, we always gotta, we gotta tinker around the edges, make sure people don't get a little bit too much. We don't want them getting, rich from their assistance in their most dire, points in life. But when it comes to, billionaire airlines who did a ton of stock share buybacks and money flowed up to the investors and the CEOs, and they were not, frugal enough or responsible enough with their money. Yeah, let's throw tens of billions of dollars and we'll say, oh, you can't do stock buybacks for a certain period of time. It's completely backwards. It's barely even discussed. Why would they discuss it in corporate media? Because they're the ones taking advertising money. So quick, straight to the point. I'll put the article about their great liquidity, well-earned money in the comment section or the under the video below.